just something about that first sip of coffee in the morning. Most nights I literally go to sleep thinking about getting up, starting my work day and drinking a coffee, and I get excited for it, which I think is a pretty cool feeling. I mean, I also love what I do. If you're a coffee drinker, let me know in the comments and let me know what your drink is as well. Hello, what's up? I thought I would just show you what I'm eating in a day right now as I'm in an intentional fat loss phase. I'm not really trying to lose weight per se, but I do want to reduce my body fat a little bit because I spent 8 months intentionally gaining weight and trying to be in a calorie surplus so that I could gain muscle, which I was able to do. And now I'm just wanting to reveal a little bit more of that muscle. And this is the kind of foods that I eat. I always start my day off with coffee because I just absolutely love coffee and I look forward to it every single night. I normally do overnight oats, which I've shown like many times. I think the last video I did, I showed how I do my oats, but I've been doing just like a very quick cook oats, similar format, just warming it up in the microwave. And I'm loving that right now and it's really easy. So let's make breakfast. I've got a call in like 20 minutes, so we gotta be quick. Okay, let's get started. Quick cook oats is where it's at. So I'm gonna do 80 grams and this is about a cup of these kind of quick cook oats. And I'm gonna put a bit of protein powder in. You definitely don't have to do this. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for 1 minute. Okay, and so while that's actually cooking, I'm just gonna do up like my oats for tomorrow as well. Just to have that like ready to go so that I can just add water. Put this in the cupboard. One more minute. That's after another minute. Raspberries, ground flax, cinnamon. All right, so oats are ready and I just wanted to weigh and measure everything so that you could see it's freaking hot. See the kind of calories for something like this. Like this works out to like 590 calories for everything that I've done. And this is like a really good range when it comes to being in a weight loss zone because a meal like this is going to make you feel very full and satisfied. It's going to tie you over for a long time. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make with their breakfast or when they're dieting or trying to lose weight, whatever you want to call it, like it's hair splitting if you use different names, doesn't matter. You're on a diet, whatever. You eat too small a portion at breakfast, you don't have a proper breakfast or you fast breakfast, and that leads to a lot of cravings and a lot of binging later at night. One of the easiest ways that you can increase your consistency, which overall reduces your calories, is to have a big and filling breakfast because you also burn calories differently in the morning versus at night. So it's better to be having a big meal to help with your cravings and to enjoy your life and to actually be able to get into a calorie deficit and lose weight. How good does this look? Let's give it a taste test. It's just oats, but it's so good. If you're not going to use protein powder, I didn't do this during my 40-pound weight loss. The only reason that I do it now is that I'm very much in an intentional muscle building phase. Like that is a huge priority for me. I spend 5 days a week in the gym. If you weren't going to do that, you wouldn't have the same level of sweetness. You also wouldn't have the calories from it, so I would put like a little bit of maple syrup or something like that. This is so good. Okay, so I just finished my calls. I'm feeling very thirsty and very hungry. Normally I do my nutritional yeast and vegeta tofu, but I have these marinated tofus and I'm going to cook these up, both of these packets, so I have some for tomorrow. And I might also even put these in my kids' lunchbox. And then we're going to cook up the staples, which is sweet potato and broccoli. Alright, so while that starts cooking up, I got my broccoli, I got my tofu, and this is going to be lunch for me. I'm super hungry, and if you're looking for a marinated tofu, I know Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and Sprouts all do really good marinated tofus. Look for one that is oil-free. This one has a tiny bit in, so I eat less of it, but you can also just use my nutritional yeast and vegeta recipe. I've shown it so much on Instagram, I've shown it so much in YouTube videos, so you can go check that out. But I'm going to put some already cooked up sweet potato, which I did a prep video if you want to see that, about how I prep these. They don't look all that great or all that appetizing. These are a good like 4 or 5 days old. They'll last about like 6 days, I want to say. But I'm going to put them in the air fryer, and they look like this, like before you cook them. And I just literally put them in a tray, like cut them in half, give them a little bit of a wash. This isn't the thing that I just literally always have in my fridge. And once they're air fried, they taste so flippin' good. It's like cake. I never get sick of it. Alright, and like this is how simple this meal is. This is a lot of food, by the way. Big, delicious meal. Very, very easy. Works out to about 450 calories, which again, like, is a lot of food here. These Japanese sweet potatoes are very, very filling. I could put sauce with this, honestly, because of how good these Japanese sweet potatoes taste. I like sauce, but I also can eat it just like this, and it doesn't detract. What I will do is put a little bit of chili salt onto the broccoli. Here's another thing, is that like I would consider myself not like a foodie necessarily, because I don't like labels like that, and I don't like identity labels in general unless I feel like they serve me. But I do really enjoy eating like good, like delicious food. I like salting my food really well. So when I do cook, I don't really hold back on the salt. I'd like to make food that tastes really, really good. For me, because I eat a breakfast that doesn't contain any salt, and I am definitely minimizing it in my lunch, I feel like it kind of evens it out a bit better. I'm able to just like not really worry about it too much in my other meals. I just challenge you, like, even if you are looking at something like this and you think like that's super boring, it is, and I get that, but it also is really delicious. For like a little bit of context, so we're running a retreat in September, and we're sold out essentially. Like, we have one spot left, which I know is going to go really quick, but we have a group chat for this retreat coming up, and we're doing some coaching with this, and it's gonna be a very, very cool thing where everyone who's coming to the retreat, we've got 10 women who are coming, they're all just sharing their goals. Like, we're very involved in like coaching them over this process. And I challenged one of the girls in this group to make like this simple meal, kind of like what I'm doing, because she makes really complicated meals, and she was like blown away at how good it tastes. I just want to read it. She said, "Oh my word, it was fantastic. I don't tend to enjoy yams of any kind, too sweet, but with the tofu and the broccoli, it was perfect. 0 sauce needed. Honestly, I was blown away." She said half a potato is plenty with the tofu. Couldn't finish it. So excited about this. I made your tofu last night. Scale is down again. Able to just dump everything in my go-to-go dish, which was huge. Ingredient prep is where it's at. Limited ingredients and that. So I've done everything. I've done the complicated meals. I've done the big salad bowls. I consistently go back to simple meals like this. So don't knock it until you try it. And if you're busy like me, then it really works. Yum. Do you want to go eat outside, Nick? It's so nice outside. Was. Just a second ago. That's New Zealand for you. I just wanted to show you, so I love this as it is, but my favourite way is just sweet potato with the tofu.
Creamer is so good.
The creamer is so flippin' good. Okay, so just about to go to the gym, and this is my fit. I feel very full from that meal. Something about sweet potatoes is they just make me feel so flippin' full. Much, much, much more than the orange ones. Like, I highly recommend with the Japanese sweet potato, because you just feel so satisfied when you eat them. I don't know a single other like 450, 500 calorie meal that would make me feel like, yep, like I don't need to have anything else for hours and hours and hours. Like, I've tried a lot of meals, and I'm gonna go do legs, like I said, and I think I just have to start telling myself a different story about leg day, because I really dread it, and I've been trying to tell myself like it's fine, like you get to work it and try and reframe it into something positive. But what I'm gonna actually start trying to do instead is just, rather than reframing it to really, really positive when I hate it, just being like, it's not a big deal. The same kind of thing that I do with sadness is like when I feel sad, I'm just remind myself like, I'm not going to feel like this forever. It's not a big deal. It's like everyone experiences negative emotions. If I can do that, I think I will just like minimize the pain of it a little bit and it will feel easier. So I'm going to give that a go. Okay, so I just got home from the gym and I'm going to go and do some more work. I really don't feel like doing anything, but I think I'm just gonna make a coffee and crack into it. It is like such a beautiful day, which makes me just like want to go for a skate, but gotta do some stuff. Look at the day. I'm just gonna have like a little bit of a pick me up. So I've got some kombucha. Kombucha is like super low calorie. This works out to about like 16. So great alternative. This one is Feijoa, which is it's not a New Zealand fruit, but it's a fruit that's very common in New Zealand in autumn, which is one of my favorite fruits. So pretty good. Alright, so it's time to make dinner. Kids are going out to Girls Brigade tonight and I am craving some ramen. So I found this ramen which is non-fried, which is really, really cool because it means it's lower in calories. But this is just simply not enough food to have as a meal. It works out to about like 300 calories. So I'm going to bulk it up with a lot of other things. I've got the tofu that we cooked up at lunch. I've got like a ton of broccoli. And then I also have this shiitake mushroom that was from a mushroom growing kit that my friend gave me that has been in the fridge for a little while. So this is like the perfect time to actually use this up. So let's go. Let's just cook this up. And I'm just going to be making this up for myself because everyone else is basically fed and watered and going to be going out. Six minutes. I'm going to put a little bit of salt. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of miso in the mushies. Okay, these are looking pretty much done. And then so is my noodles. I'll probably turn actually both of these off. Okay, so the ramen comes with these 2 packets. This is just pure oil. I am not going to be using this because this is like 100 to 200 calories that I simply don't need, that is not going to add any flavor. This does have like a lot of water in it. I'm going to just get a little bit. I'm going to keep about that much. Can't even really see. Like there's a little bit in there. I'll put this seasoning in. And I almost forgot. I was going to cook up 2 of these and put them in the air fryer. Okay, I'm gonna get absolutely huge bowl for this. Ramen going in. All that mushroomy. I'm gonna eat all of it myself. Okay, so this is looking pretty epic. And then the other thing that I'm gonna do is just put on a little bit of this bagel seasoning. Look at that. That is so much food and it's all for me and I cannot wait to enjoy this like in peace. So this meal works out to, it's telling me about 670 calories, but it is honestly less than that because we didn't add in this here, which accounts for at least 100 calories. As far as I can tell, that is part of the serve. But even so, even if this was like closer to 700 calories, totally fine for a weight loss meal. This is going to be very, very filling because as you can see for the rest of the day, like we're sitting at like 1800 to 1900 calories because I also had that coffee in there, which for most people, if they get very consistent, is perfectly fine for a range of fat loss. Here's a little tidbit. I had to have my mind changed around how many calories I actually needed. I didn't count calories losing weight, but it was very interesting that once I had lost 40 pounds and then I actually did start to count when I started to count macros, it was extremely hard for me to stay under even like 1800 or like 1900 calories. And this is after losing the weight. What happens when you lose weight is that you need less calories because you become a smaller person. So what that indicated to me is that if I found it difficult to stay under 1900 or 1800 calories per day once I started tracking, I had been eating a lot more than that because I hadn't found it difficult up until that point. And that's how I lost 40 pounds. Most people, if you actually look at statistical data on how many calories an average person eats, it's like 3,000 calories. It's quite high, because even if you don't eat like this on a daily basis, you can have these big splurges on weekends or when you go off plan. And so even if you're eating like say 1,200 calories on a day-to-day basis, if you're not losing weight, most of the time it's because there's big calorie splurges, weekends, nights, or could be even weeks from that point, that mean that the overall average, once you divide that over the number of days, is a lot higher than 1,200. What I've experienced and what I've seen, it's like over 2,000 women now. It's a lot of women that we've been able to actually observe and look at through the coaching that we've done inside of Lean with Plants, is that consistently people lose weight eating a lot more calories than they think, but they're not tracking it when they do that. All that being said, everyone's needs are individual. So if you can't eat as much and get away with it, you just change the calorie density slightly. So don't have as much tofu as me, because that was like 200 of the calories. You just omit that and then you're down even further. By the way, before I do this, as this is gonna be very hot, the only true test of whether a diet works is if you are actually losing fat. It's always shocking how easily you can lose fat when you use these principles of adding a ton of veggies, getting out most of the processed food, eliminating oil, and you don't even have to track, and it doesn't feel difficult because you can eat food like this and you still actually lose weight. It's so dark here right now, you can't tell. But I'm gonna sit in the dark and watch some training and enjoy this in peace. It is dessert time now. I'm eating some of these gummies, which are like creatine gummies. So I absolutely love this brand. Unfortunately, you can't get it in the States. I just take 3 every day. I'm gonna make a cup of tea and have a little teeny piece of dessert. And then I'm also gonna eat one of these like little biscuits. What I try and do, it's probably gonna sound weird, but I try and have like something that is like a little bit of a treat, but I try to keep my desserts mostly whole foods as much as possible, or at least not have like tons of oil. So I mean, I could have like 1 Oreo and it would probably be a similar amount of calories to this, but this feels like a treat because it's a little bit more expensive, because it's just a little bit more decadent, but it's not. It helps me to stay more consistent because it's not me like kind of like giving up. And I think that like something like an Oreo or something like a like more of like a genuine dessert can be like a little bit of a slippery slope for my habits. I like to have distinction in my habits, so this is kind of like what I will normally do. But in saying that, we just got a Ninja Creamy today, which I'm very, very excited about, and that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes, and then I might just start eating more dessert. So a little cookie that does have a little bit of chocolate in it, and this is 145 calories, so this is going to be my dessert, and that's my day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I didn't get any footage of myself working out, but it is what it is. As you can see, I eat like pretty simply. I eat mostly whole foods. If I'm craving something, I try to make a better version of it that has like a ton of veggies. I always try and find things that are oil-free as much as possible. Just make the best choices that I can. I've been in this intentional fat loss phase for a couple of months now, and I've lost about 2 kilos of fat. And I did have a body fat scan like very, very recently, and I worked out that I'm about 15% body fat now, so I've genuinely lost body fat. Looking at my scan, I have actually lost a bit of muscle as well. It's very interesting because I've been very, very intentional about trying to maintain the muscle that I built in my bulk, and I have gained muscle in my arms, but I have not been as intentional with my legs, and I have not been pushing with my legs, mostly because of my knee injury. I'm a little bit disappointed that I've like lost a bit of muscle on that, but in saying that, with the way that my knee has been and me like massively like modifying the exercises that I'm doing, so that and then also just hating leg day, and like I will do it, I have it scheduled for twice a week, and then occasionally I will just do one, like a full leg day. It's kind of understandable. So it's like what I do with that data now. I want to be as strong as I can going into my ACL reconstruction, but I'm also not super motivated to push in my legs when I'm just really wary of my knee. So that's what it is, because I've gained muscle like upper body, but lost it a little bit in the lower body. If I wasn't pushing as hard as I was, like how much would I have lost? Like I don't know, it's super interesting. Anyway, I'm going to go and enjoy this, and I hope that you found this helpful, and I'll see you next week for another video. All right, bye.